suggesting one.
One more.
Why don't we think of
Why don't we? That makes more logical sense.
I'm elected at large, and there wouldn't be anybody who would say, and I don't care who you are, whether you love me or hate me, who wouldn't say that, okay, I have as good a knowledge about Tokoroa, Tokoroa, Awakuni, Atimuri and Tiwao as anybody else.
Yeah.
So if the mayor is elected at large,
why can't the councillors be?
why would, council actually discussed that, we decided not to.
But we're only allowed to go out with one option. And by legislation, we're only allowed to go out with one option.
So maybe you want to write in a submission, everybody should be elected at large.
And are we being a bit narrow in saying community board, parliamentary, I know legislatively there's probably restrictions, but is there some kind of hybrid or some kind of mechanism which would address the weak points of both types of representation?
And that's the catch of the world, that legislation determines what we can do.
Then we need to secede. We need to become an independent republic.
I think we're now having a lovely community discussion going round and round.
Well, one thing just before we go.
You said that was your last question.
It is. I do want to go to 9 o'clock.
The best thing you said all night.
I do want to go to 9 o'clock, Neil. Honestly.
Well, you have.
No, that's fine. As long as there's a skeleton crew left behind.
I'd like to make some positive suggestions.
Right.
And that is, we've already established that this lack of connection with the community, it's perceived.
No, I'm not prepared to accept that. I said
Here's my evidence. But what I'm saying is, the internet is very important. This council seems to be so, the internet doesn't exist. No, because I remember when I first met with Craig, he played down the importance of the internet as a marketing tool. When I met Sarah Flavel, I was shocked to find that she didn't use the internet. We had a meeting of airfield users, and when it was suggested that a website was created for the airfield, Sarah said, oh, well, it's not really important, not many people use the internet, although there was only one hand went up and I said, who doesn't? Can we work together to get more effective communications through the internet? I mean, for the council's Facebook, there's another Facebook page that deals with Tokoroa issues, and I think it's very popular, but the council's Facebook page is pretty, it's only when people grizzle about the toilets or something that anything happens on the council's Facebook page. And there's no young people here. There's no young people making submissions. Can we, perhaps as part of this representation review, look at ways we can engage with the young people? I mean, these are the people
If you really wanted to engage with young people, and I am going, you would have been in our council chamber last night as we gave awards out to outstanding youth that are serving our community for leadership, for being part of it, and you would have been there to see Jared Kennedy being invited down as an aspiring youth leader down to Wellington to work for 5 days with cabinet ministers. And that's what the council's involvement with youth takes place.
What about the
Jenny
thousands
and I
who
were
aren't?
there. Pardon?
What about the thousands who aren't at council chambers? The thousands who really don't seem to exist?
Well, I really go and have a look. Instead of just talking, Bruce, I get worried because you talk without knowledge and you speak with emotion. Go and have a look at our trade training and see how many young ones go through that to get jobs and how we are leading nationally.
Yeah, but how's that engaged
We
with
engage with them with the Youth Leadership Advisory Board, and we engage with them through our, what's the big day that we have that they organise? School of Zen. We engage with them on a number of levels right across the district, and that includes primary schools, with intermediate schools and the high schools.
Go and look at how we are running our social sector trials.
Yeah.
And the social sector trials have actually come together to bring 5 government departments together to sit round the table and work out how the best thing can do, and how through, and Jenny's on TCOS, and how like the work of that has dropped truancy in Tokoroa from up there to here.
Yeah.
Now there's so much going on, it's actually mind-blowing, particularly in terms of the...
Here's a big picture, because you talked about the majority. One of the things I want to suggest in this town, the majority sits with Mill, sits with Fonterra, the cheese factory, sits with Mighty River. Now, one of the challenges, and Big Farm, one of the challenges I have with this council is it doesn't balance those big money interests with what's happening in a decile 10 location. Now, the big challenge that you guys have in a representation is when the farm prices go up 25%, okay, because in 10 months' time, the QB comes out every 3 years. Now, at the moment, it's already sitting at a fifth on the valuation of land and improvements. Now, that's one of the biggest issues. I watched this council when I first came down here a decade ago. There were 70% women on it, and I sat here and I thought, I know what's going to happen. Tara and I had 12, and they were all like Mr. Fisk sitting around the table. If you took a photo of it, there was 12 Mr. Fisk sitting around the table. And I said that this district would gradually migrate towards that makeup, that demographic makeup. And we're starting to see it. There's 30% at the moment, and the 3 councillors who are women, representatives, were at the hotel in Tirau when we had the meeting, and it was a very interesting and enjoyable time. So, Mr. Mayor, this majority that sits unknown, the richest man in New Zealand, Hart, he owned 57% of all the rural land in South Waikato. So these are the issues that are, when I say not under the ice, but above the clouds, and these don't get talked about. I'm trained to understand and talk about this.
I'm not too sure, but I will have you know that as I walk up there and I walk down the street, you can tell me that if we don't know that down, why every one of those young kids say, hello, Papa Neil. Why do they, I turn around and you will notice if you were at the youth thing last night, they would have said, hello, Papa Neil, and kiss Papa Neil. That's because Jenny and I have a relationship and we recognise what's going on within our community. So to hell with this idea that we look after these big guys, that sitting in here, that I would say that I lead the most socially minded council that you could possibly think of, that has really said to the government, you might have got rid of the 4 well-beings, but we still believe in them. And these guys believe in that. If you sit through a council meeting, you will hear how their concern is right across for the social well-being, and they are doing it. You don't know, quite frankly, and I've been here, that, okay.
To just sum up tonight, I actually have been turned around by what I've heard with the 2 wards, and not so much the names. I like what Peter said about setting up a community board in Tokoroa, just for the sheer fact of fitting in with the sector trials. The reason we're focused at central government is we have some of the worst statistics, and so a community board would fit in well.
Hang on, because you throw out the worst statistics in what?
Well, I'll give you an example.
Now come on, don't just tell me.
Well, what about cigarette smoking? No, look, we
No,
can
I'll
go...
make a cigarette smoking.
No, well, but I just wanted to answer Jenny's point. Here's an example. We had international, I think it was international paper. Their HR was told, do not employ any person who lives in Tokoroa. And so there's an exodus of people out of the district if they wanted to work at the mill. So these are the things that the mayor and council need to keep, for a social perspective, tabs on. And those things need to be...
Rob, I'll stick with this, because one of the things that Bruce made the point around the...
I'm going.
No, it's good. Carry on.
I'm going to go see the kids next door because they're far better.
And we'll send you the link for tonight's video.
You made the point about or Bruce made the point about not using the internet to market. The internet's a dangerous thing, that people can make comments without any information, and they can throw those comments out there without justifying them. They can go viral, we see that all the time, and people will take them at face value and believe it. So that's why I do struggle with the internet. It's a great marketing tool, Bruce, but we see that all the time. And Rod, you've just demonstrated that. You've made a whole lot of comments about things that this council is actually doing a hell of a lot of work at. And if you use the Fonterra example, you talked about Fonterra. Yes, they've invested $385 million into our district. They believe that we're the most user-friendly council, business-friendly council they've dealt with. They've made
Big business friendly.
They've made that comment publicly. That will create 40 to 50 jobs. The council has worked with Fonterra to determine that those employees will be educated and come through our district. So,
I'll challenge you on that. So when the rates come in, and it's 25% increase in rates cost to all farmers, you say to them, we're going to sit on that for 10 years and see what plays out. And you watch Fonterra turn around to you, and I tell you what, they'll put so much pressure on you to harmonise that, because the farmers in the district will say...
And again, an example of how